Okay, I have finished both sides of the legs. I've sewed on the lace. Let me get organized here. Not hit the camera if I can help it. Okay. Alright, so the next step is I've got the bias tape sewn on both pieces, the lace sewn on, or the trim, whatever you want to call it. Next step is we're going to sew up our two sides. We're not going to put the elastic in yet. We're going to finish this off, and the elastic's going to come after we do everything else. I do that last. It's up to you. You don't have to do it last if you'd rather do it now. But it's just easier for me to do it in this, you know. These are simple. Once you get them going, you can make them up in a few minutes. They're not very hard to do at all. Okay, so we're going to go back to our regular 1/4 inch seam. So let's go to my basic one, and then we're just going to put a 1/4 inch seam in here. If you have a serger, go ahead and serge them. If you don't, then do an overlock. You just want to secure those stitches so you don't have any raw edges. It's however you want to do it. I don't even have a pin in that one. Okay, when I put that seam in, you can see I'm just barely touching the very edge of that bias tape. See how close I am? There's the bias tape edges, and there is the seam. It's very close. Okay, so let's do the other side. Same thing, a little bit different on that one, but good enough. See that? Bias tape, seam. That's going to be your crotch right there after you get your elastic in. Okay, so we're up to this point. I'm going to serge both of these since I have a serger. If you don't, just do an overlock. All you're doing is securing those, securing the edges. You don't even have to worry about, I got my cutter off. I don't like using my cutter because I always cut where I shouldn't. So we're just going to go in here and do a serge. Oops, wrong foot. Let me see if you can see. Okay. So I'm just going to cut those threads off because I'm going to re-sew over there, and this one is going to get turned down because I am going to add bias tape to the waistband. So let's do the other side. Okay, so we've serged both of our edges. Okay, so next step is to do the waistband. Alright, so what we're going to do is when we put our seam in the crotch, we're going to turn one of these to the right and we're going to turn the other seam to the left. And the reason why is because when we insert our elastic through the bias tape, we want to be able to run our safety pin without it getting stuck on the the side seams. So let's go ahead and put a pin. This one will go to the right. Well, they're both going to go to the same direction because that's the way the elastic's going to go through. But then when you go to do the crotch, they'll be in the opposite directions. So in other words, this one's going this way, and the other one was going this way, so that when we sew this crotch here, we'll have one seam heading this way and one seam heading the other way, but on the top they're both in the same direction. And that's, like I said, so when we insert our elastic, we'll be able to get the elastic all the way through. Okay, so let's go back to our regular sewing machine. Get out your bias tape again. This time we're going to open it up, and our first thing we're going to do is we're going to make a little maybe 1/4 inch, a little bit more than a 1/4 inch turn down on our bias tape. And you always turn down your first thing, lower pressure foot. Oh, I'm on the wrong sewing machine foot. Okay, so let's go ahead and start our bias tape. We're going to start it just on the other side of, we can do it in the front, it doesn't matter. We're going to do it this way. So actually we're going to sew on the front. Let's turn this inside out. Okay, so let's go ahead and start our bias tape right on the opposite side of that seam. We're going to start it right here, and we're going to sew on the right sides. Okay, so we're going to open it up, right side of fabric. We're going to open it up, and we're going to sew in this trench. You see this? We're going to sew in the trench. So let me see what the easiest way to do this would be. Probably this way. So we'll sew like this. Make it easy on ourselves. See what we're doing? Okay. Hope that was clear. Probably confused you. But we're sewing the bias tape to the right side of the fabric. And we're going to go to the middle, and we're going to sew right into that channel. So let me get that going and get away from those pins. Okay, so let's do that. Open up your bias tape as you sew. You're doing it flush with the edge. I'm going to get up to that pin and then remove it. Okay. Open up. Sew down the channel. If you make a mistake on this and you have to go back and fix it because you went off the edge or something, it doesn't matter. I mean, if you didn't get right in that channel, because you're not going to see the stitching at all. Nobody's going to see the stitching. It's all going to be encased inside the bias tape. So if you have to go back and make a correction, it's no big deal. Remove it. Open up your bias tape. Sew in the channel. Okay, I just went off the. I just went outside of the channel. I'll show you what I did. So then, if that happens to you, you can just go right back and pick it up. Okay, so see how we get to the end here? So we're going to cut off our bias tape right at that 1/4 inch turn. So we're going to overlap that by 1/4 inch, and that's where we're going to make our turn. Okay, so just cut that off. Okay, we're going to open it up, and then we're going to turn it onto itself. We're going to overlap it just a fraction, just a tiny little bit, and I'm going to show you why once I get it off the sewing machine so you can see. Just overlap it just a tiny bit so that you can still get the safety pin in there, but once you turn it and seal it, you won't. They'll sort of overlap each other. Okay, let's see if I can show you what I mean up close. Okay, see how I overlapped it? Not even, oh my gosh, it's just a tiny little fraction. Probably a 1/16 of an inch, just like that. Okay, now I'm going to show you my mistake. See how I did that? I didn't get in the channel. I went above the channel. So now I'm going to go back and I'm going to sew back in that channel so I can catch it up. And you're never going to know I missed the channel. what I did? I went back and I picked that up because I didn't get in the channel. So if you don't get in the channel, you can just go back and fix it up. Even if you're outside of the channel, by not too much, it doesn't really matter. But try to get in the channel if you can. Okay, so now we've got this, so let's cut some of these strings off where I had to go back and restitch. Okay, now on that one I did 2 rows of stitching on the bias tape. On this one I'm only going to do 1 row, and I'll show you what the difference looks like. Okay, so now we're just going to turn everything to the front. Okay, because we made our first bias tape as a fold, you're going to get that little overlap just like that, okay? So that's not a problem. So let's just turn everything to the front. I didn't match that up very well, did I? Oh well, you get the idea. Try to match it up better than I did. Okay. Yeah, I didn't do a very good job on that, but I'm not going to fix it. Okay, so let's just turn this all to the front. Throw that needle away, it's getting kind of dull. Same thing with this. If you want to just extend the extend your waistline higher and use the fabric itself as a casing to turn it under twice and then insert your elastic in that, you can do that too. It all depends on what you want to do. It's totally up to you. You don't want to go through this hassle with the bias tape. Make a double fold. Okay, so on the pink ones I did a stitching at the top and a stitching on the bottom. This one I'm just going to do a stitching on the bottom. I'm just going to secure the bias tape on the, yeah, see, hopefully you'll do a better job here, and when you match these up they'll match together. But for some reason mine didn't want to, but I'm just going to leave it. Okay, so I'm just going to sew the bias tape. I'm going to go to the middle. I'm going to pull my pins out as I get to them. Okay, I'm going to stop there for this part, and then when I come back we'll insert our elastic and we'll finish off these shorts. Okay, so try to do a little neater job than I did. I really messed that up. I don't know why. I just sewed too close to the channel or something. Okay, so I'll be right back and we'll finish these up.